All right, welcome back to Seahawks Chat. So it's gonna be a topic-based video. I'm gonna have some clip. I'm gonna basically have some clips later on talking about some. I'm gonna be showing some gameplay footage of the two notable players that we picked up in the waiver wire. Number one is linebacker Drake Thomas, and number two is cornerback Blue Kelly. I know his name is Cree Blue Kelly or Cry Blue Kelly. I just been calling him the Blue Kelly or Blue Kelly because honestly, I ain't gonna go that far. And if if that hurts you, that hurts you. I apologize. But in any event, these two players, I do like one more than the other, notably because one has I think has at least experience to play backup now. Like if you let him play now, whereas another one, I actually think you should just put him in the practice squad, or if he could play the Seattle scheme as well as I think he actually could, because the scheme that he played in college is similar to Seattle, more of a zone press scheme. Then yeah, he might be able to shine. And since we just cut Artie Burns and of course John Radigan to make room for these two players, hey, maybe there's some potential in these two players. But all in all, again, with Drake Thomas, when I saw him in the preseasons and actually see him in NC State, because I actually saw NC State tapes overall, I was actually going to put him in my part four waiver pickups before I didn't really get that release, but I was gonna pick him between him and Isaiah Moore, because both of them are both great inside linebackers. That actually Moore is, I think, is a better inside linebacker, or a linebacker in general, because he's played outside too, and he's a better coverage linebacker, and he's faster. But Drake Thomas is no slouch either. One thing that I like about Drake is that he is a willing tackler, and he'll go, and he's a what do I call, it's kind of like a, when he tackles, it's like a cannonball. He kind of just shoots himself. He throws himself at you basically and tackles you. Now there's pros and cons to that. Pro, if you connect properly, you can get a big hit, probably even a fumble. For sure, a tackle for loss. But if you miss and you whiff, then that's pretty bad on you. That's what I mean. So it's a little dangerous how Drake Thomas approaches his tackles. So he's got to learn how to wrap up. But the problem with his wrap up is that he has such small. He has really short arms. He has sub 30-inch arms. That's shorter than my arms. I actually have relatively long arms. But I'm just surprised because when you see him on tape, especially out there in the preseason, it shows. And it shows that he's not that big of a person. I mean, I get it. He's 5'11", 225. You can see the stock in him. But in terms of stature and like his short arms, really, it's apparent. He just makes him look smaller than he really is. But the one thing that I was impressed with is that when they ask him to blitz, or they ask him to go after the quarterback, or when he's covering the running back, because they're doing man coverage, he does well. He's able to he does all three well. And one thing that I'm really impressed with, notably, especially when he's told to blitz, is that he's really good at attacking running lanes. And he did that really well in NC State. He was a dominant rusher, basically a dominant like pass rusher to a degree over there in NC State. He didn't get a lot of sacks, but he got a lot of tackles for loss. A lot of tackles for loss. So he can get really sneaky disruptive inside that pocket, and attack both the quarterback or the running back. Either or. So I do like this pickup overall. I do see why. I have actually said this as soon as we picked them up in my mind. Like, I already had one instant reaction. BBK. I thought of BBK immediately, because even though BBK was definitely a little faster and much more agile, and in terms of actual stature, they're about the same height, but he was bigger. He was longer arms, I'm pretty sure, but bigger. He was a bigger player, but he was a force. There was times where he'll have like, especially in the Huskies, he'll have like 20 tackle games. That's ridiculous. This guy has had similar production in NC State. So that's why I could see why Carroll is like, hey, let's give this guy a chance. He did pretty well in the preseason. He actually did pretty well in the preseason. There's some clips I'm going to show you soon enough of how well he played. And all in all, I could see why they cut Radigan because I think Radigan is probably a little more expensive than this guy. So he probably saved a little bit some money. And since he's a rookie, he's just going to learn with us over time. He's just going to be like a BBK project. Unfortunately, for BBK, with his injury, I don't think he made it either. I think he just cut now. But, hey, we tried with him. And also with the Blue Kelly, he's also a rookie too. He was a 5th-round pick. Excuse me. Excuse me. A 5th-round pick from the Ravens. That shocked me because it's like he's almost guaranteed to be on your roster because he's just a draft pick. So most draft picks usually make it. But there's 2 reasons why I can genuinely see why the Ravens are cutting him. Number 1, he's actually raw. And in terms of raw, I mean like raw in general because as I saw him, and especially notably second and third preseason games, he was getting a little cooked, to say the least. So it was a little underwhelming to see his performance. So I was like, for me, I was not happy that we picked him up. I'm sure there probably would have been other. I had other players notably, but I can't say more than what I'm already seeing now because we already have him. And hey, if he was worthy of a 5th-round pick, then that's fine. When I checked out some draft stocks, he was a draftable player, and he did play well in Stanford. The thing for me is I'm going to also mention there's 2 things why Kelly could be a good pickup for us. Number 1, he plays a very similar scheme that he was successful at in Seattle, the press zone. And number 2, it's Pete Carroll we're talking about here. If it's any other coach, I wouldn't really. I would be a little worried because this guy really needs a little bit of time to develop, maybe another year or so. But this is Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is the cornerback whisperer. He is always transforming basically walk-off quarterbacks and turning them into stud shutdowns. Like again, I can always imagine G.J. Reed. But not even that. Like, look at Mike Jackson last year. Now, yeah, sure, granted, Mike Jackson, his preseason didn't look so good, but I also have faith in Mike Jackson as well. He's going to do well. And basically all the other, like Richard Sherman and, Brandon Browner. And here's what's even crazier. Here comes Brandon Browner, gets suspended, loses his job and whatever. And here comes Byron Maxwell. And I think it was like a 5th-round pick also. And he freaking takes a starting job and becomes a relatively decent cornerback. But then after most of those players leave, they end up not playing as well as they used to because of the scheme. Because it's just Carroll. He just has some kind of way with secondary players. And it's just remarkable. So I have faith that if Carroll says, hey, look, I like this guy. And, granted, with his success with Stanford players, I mean, look at Colby Parkinson and Doug Baldwin. I'm sure there's others that I'm probably just blanking out, but those 2 notable for sure. He could probably do something with this guy. Maybe make something, maybe make a good 4th dime receiver or dime corner. Sorry. And he's very young still. 23 years old. 22 years old, I believe. Yeah, but any event, the only thing that I have a knock on him is that in terms of like actual speed, like downhill speed, he's not that fast in terms of cornerback level. Because I have seen him get cooked. He has been double moved, and how do I put this? He's recovered, but I think he only recovered because there was time, he gets a little holdy a little bit, and then he gets beat. What can you do? So these are just things that he really needs to clean up. So like I said, he's just really raw, but he does have good makeup. 6'1", 190. This is an adequate outside corner size for Pete Carroll. It's just the only thing that he just needs to worry about. It's just actual speed and being burned and like recovering. Like that's my problem when I saw him on his tape in the preseason, and you'll see it soon. Is every time someone got behind him, it was a little tough for him to recover. and so they would catch. Or if someone would make a move on him or change the route position, he wouldn't be quick enough to cut to stop on a dime and cut into the receiver and be on his hip in a way. At least from what I saw, it was in college. He did, but I don't know what's so different about. I understand preseason is different because his NFL experience. Maybe he has nervousness, so he's just kind of easing his way in. But yeah, man, he did not look good in preseason. So again, I'm gonna point all this stuff out. There were two notable plays that he did have in his preseason, whereas Drake, we're gonna talk about three of them, even though there's probably five I can mention, but there's three that I'm gonna mention, so this video is not too long. So in any event, just so you guys let you know, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the clips. So we're gonna cut away right here and check it out. All right, so welcome back. So again, as I was mentioning before I cut it in, we're going to be talking about both Drake Thomas and Q Blue Kelly, the Blue Kelly himself. As you know, both of them coming out, both played all the way to their seniors. One was drafted 5th round, and Thomas was undrafted. So we're going to talk about his stats. So one thing that it really, really sticks out to me, and especially if you watch on his tapes, tackles for losses. In his last 2 seasons, he had 22 and a half tackles for loss. No, 32. 32 and a half tackles for loss. That's even more impressive. And just like I was mentioning before, prior to cutting in, this guy is really good at stuffing lanes. He's good at plugging lanes. He's good at stuffing the run. And more importantly, if he's able to blitz and find the lane like he's really good at doing, and due to his size, it helps him slip through the O-line pretty well, he's able to wrap up both the quarterback or the ball carrier, no problem. He's also a pretty willing tackler, but I'm going to show you guys in tapes soon enough that there's some times when the way he tackles in some cases is kind of like a kamikaze. So he could hit, and sometimes he could miss. So now that he's in NFL level, he's got to learn how to hone his tackling more. But he's still a great tackler. Like when he wraps around you, he's still going to hold you down. As for Blue Kelly, it seems as though his junior year he was the most productive. He had two interceptions, one for the house, picked up a fumble recovery. But his senior year, apparently, there wasn't really much going on. Like he was shutting down. His side of the field. But it seemed as though there wasn't, in terms of production, there's not a lot to show because there wasn't much opportunities given to him because they gave him more respect to senior year, it seemed. But his junior year, he really was dominant. But we're gonna go. But the thing is, there is some things with Blue Kelly that I'm going to show you soon enough with him, and notably the game. I think it was against the last preseason game. It was actually not a good showing. But all in all, let's go ahead and show you Drake Thomas. So this is a play from Drake Thomas that I really liked. As you can see, that's him highlighted right there. He is the middle linebacker, and we're going to go ahead and play this play. As you see, he is going to run up. As he's running, he sees the ball carrier, recognizes the ball carrier is there. He's in a nice line zone. And as he walks up, he sees that all this is broken up, but he's in position to get to the ball carrier, wraps him up. And that's a tackle for loss. And let me tell you, one more time, let's watch that one more time. So in full speed, he sees it, recognizes it, tackles him. Very good play. I think that's absolutely great play by Thomas. I really like this guy's awareness into the field, what's in front of him. He's able to really absorb the information in front of him. And as he sees where the ball is heading or where the ball is, he's good at either being able to keep back, because there's times where he's playing zone or man in terms of the running back. You're going to see soon enough. Or he'll actually take on the running back, as you saw. So that was a good play from him. I got another one. This was in the Rams game. So as you can see, he is right over here. He wears the black sleeves, 57. Again, if you look at him in terms of all the other players, he is a little smaller. Like, I'm not trying to be mean to him because I'm not. I mean, I'm 5'11" as well, man. So we're in the same height, but you know, we look a little small right there. I ain't gonna lie. But here's what I'm talking about. So it was a high snap. He's about to throw it out to the flat. He hits it. He hits his running back. That's where he comes flying. He already recognizes prior to the throw because that's his man that he's going to attack. But here's what I'm talking about. There's times where his kamikaze style of tackling can be bad because in this instance he completely misses, but he gets lucky. Watch. See, he whiffs. As soon as he gets through, he whiffs, but due to being just disruptive enough and the line getting in front of the ball carrier, he goes down. And it becomes a tackle for loss. But let's go back again. This is exactly what I mean. As soon as he is got the snap, he is already completely looking at where his man is. Watch as the play develops. He sees that the ball is thrown. Where is he already going? Automatically going to to his running back. But this is exactly what I mean. He's closing in, but instead of running to him and wrapping him up, he literally dives and kind of does like a low dive and just misses. Now in NC State, he was more successful when he did those tackles, but in the NFL, that's something I'm concerned about because NFL, you know, they got good talent. It's not easy to whiff. I mean, it's pretty easy to whiff against NFL level. Now, here's another one that I wanted to show in terms of his abilities yet again. This is something that I was talking about, being able to read the run. He's definitely a run stuffing linebacker, which is something that we do actually need because we were terrible on the run. So as you see, the ball's height, he's already noticing where he needs to go. His vision is set. He can see that the running back is coming in. But the problem is that the whole entire line is making big, it's making it hard for him to see. And this is what was a con for him, is that he's not that large. He's not a big guy, so it's hard for him to see where the ball carrier is. And a guy like probably Deuce Vaughn, I think this Deuce Vaughn taking the ball, that guy's also 5'5". You're not going to find him. But as he's running through, he runs through the lanes, finds him immediately, stops him, takes him down. But again, I don't think that's Deuce Vaughn. But back to what I was just trying to mention is that as soon as he does recognize where what the play is and where the running back is. But he needs to know where he is now. And unfortunately, he does get a little combobbled with all this mess. A hole right here opens up, and that's where I believe he's able to see it. Sorry about that. I believe he's probably able to see it. Let's see it one more time. I apologize about that. See, right there, as soon as he's cutting in, he turns to his left, and then that's when he wraps him up. Unfortunately, he does make the completion, but that should tell you something about his ability. Now, there was one more play that I want you guys to note that he is covering in this play. I actually don't necessarily think it's his fault in this play because it was technically Will Greer is not his man, but if I can find some protection, I think if the secondary may have came a little forward, I would have loved to have seen Thomas pursue Greer quickly. So let's go ahead and run this play. As you see, the ball snapped. He's moving up. He's scanning the area. He sees immediately that 34 is already out. It's going to be a check. But he's also looking. See? He's still looking at Greer. The whole time he is looking at Greer. But he is concerned that the check down is right next to him. There is no backup. Where is any backup? See, this is why I cannot fault Thomas on this play. But at the same time, if this player came down in any capacity, because this player was already covered, then I could see him immediately being able to break off to Greer. But as you can see, let's let the play develop. He's stepping. He has to take two coverage sets back just in case. But as soon as he sees Greer take off, that's when he has to take off. But look, he's not. As you see him run, he's not. I don't know if he's running full speed or not, but he doesn't seem to be running so side. He's not the fastest sideline to sideliner, as you can kind of see. But he still is rather instinctual. The whole play itself shows a lot of knowledge in his own play. See, he's already scanning. He has not once stopped looking at Greer. He's been looking at Greer the whole time. That's impressive. But he has to worry about the check down over here. But unfortunately, where Greer runs, and that results in a first down. Now, is this Thomas's fault? No. But this should tell you of note that Thomas has mental experience. He's had mental experience seeing what he has to do. If he would have already taken off, Greer smart enough to throw that check down to the running back and gain even more yards than probably the 12 yards he was given. So understand those little things that Thomas does bring as a linebacker. And as you saw, he does play middle, but there's some instances, if you saw the rest of the preseason highlights, he plays all three positions outside as well. So that's something we can really use in him. Okay, now, as for Blue Kelly, this is probably the most notable play of him. So there he is right around here, I believe. Yeah, that is him right there. No, I apologize. Let me go back one more time. So this is him right here. I apologize, everyone. That's him right there. So as you can see, he takes the chip from the tight end. It looks like the tight end is just literally trying to push him out. It looks like that may be another tight end or a running back. Again, I'm not too familiar with who their players are. But as soon as the tight end lets go of his block, Blue Kelly breaks free and has great position to attack. And he closes, wraps him up, and does a sound tackle. And saves the game until they lose. But still, let's watch that one more time. Because again, this is probably the most notable play of Blue Kelly. I'm not even lying. That's kind of how bad his preseason was. And there you go, in full speed. So it was a feel-good moment for him. He was able to stop the 2-point conversion to stop the tie. So he feels good. You know, he's like, all right. But this is where things get a little bad. All right, let's go ahead and go here first. Here's the first one. So this is also a play that he actually, quote, had broken up. But understand that he actually was already beaten prior to recovering because he was beaten. So here comes the snap. He goes, initial move, punches, swivs, and is already, bam, I'm gone. And look, and if this camera came out, he was gone. As he throws it, you can see he was gone. The thing with Kelly is that he does have enough speed against this receiver to catch up. So he catches up on his closing speed and recovers. But here's the problem. He still catches the ball. If this wasn't a third or fourth or fifth or if this was not a non-starting receiver, this is a catch and a touchdown. It's a burn. This would be a burn. But Blue Kelly is lucky he's taking on someone who was just like an elementary school teacher not too long ago. So he initially caught the ball. As soon as he catches the ball, instinctually, thankfully for Kelly's sake, he's able to punch it out, and then it bobbles out. He does get a hand on that ball, and then the ground pops it out. But let's go back again, because he was already beaten. So ready, he steps, goes, cuts, makes him look silly. And you gotta understand if this guy's probably like Jake Bobo status, not as slow as Jake Bobo probably, but he looks pretty big like him. I don't know who this receiver is, but again, throws it. Already beaten. He's just getting lucky that he's slowing down to catch that ball because the ball was slightly underthrown. I'm telling you, this is not, for me, in my opinion, yes, this was a block or, broken up pass, but this was a terrible broken up pass. This was something that I was really disappointed in. Okay, and there should be one more play notably over here. Let's see if he'll play. There, yeah. See, right here, he getting beaten too. Like that's the thing. This whole game, he just was. It was a terrible. It just was a terrible game. Here we go. Right here. This was the play, guys. Thank you. So this is him right here. He's lined up against, I think, Palmer. And Trey Palmer apparently has been like beasting it in the preseason. So maybe that's something. So here we go. Snaps. Gets on him. Follows him up. He's doing well. He's doing well. Riding on him. Riding on his hip. Pressing on him. He's doing well. Okay. There he is. I understand. I'm sorry this is blurry. But there he is. Number 17. There is your player making a catch. Now, let's watch the replay. The replay will show specifically what happened. So let this go ahead and run through. Here we go. He's and that's true. He was grabbing prior to cutting. He was already holding on to him. So see? Already holding. This is bad. You don't want this in your cornerback. You don't want to be holding your guy. You're not Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner's the only one who can hold in the NFL right now. This is bad. But more importantly, he lets go. He cuts in position, completely gaps him, and look at how much space he has. This is a no-no. I can drive my car through here. And makes a great catch. All right? But that's what I'm saying, guys. So in terms of Blue Kelly, do I like him overall? When I saw his tapes, he did well. I think Carroll can work with him because he does have outside corner size, and at the same time, he's still relatively a smart person. He's just extremely raw. And right now, if I'm putting him out at my 5th cornerback, I'm a little worried. I don't want to get Trey Brown vibe. Not Trey Brown's. Trey Flowers vibes. I'm sorry. Trey Flowers vibes. But as for Drake, I have a lot of upside for Drake. I feel as though if he really does help stuff the run, or he's more primarily a first down run stuffing inside linebacker, he will do really good for us. All right? So that's my analysis on both of these players. I'm going to go ahead and swing it back, and it's going to go right about now. All right, so as you can see, I showed everything that I showed y'all. I showed y'all the film of the positives. I showed y'all the films of the negatives. More negatives on one player than the other. But all in all, are these players worth having on the team? Me, in my opinion, yes. On 2 reasons. One, probably because of cost, because Radigan was already going to be on like a veteran minimum or whatever. So he's probably way more expensive, a little more expensive than a rookie deal. And number 2, both of these players can play what Carroll wants, which is for Carroll and corner of course, a press zone scheme corner, and for the linebacker position for Drake Thomas, he can play both inside and outside, which is impressive. But he's a natural inside linebacker, let's be honest. But since we're playing this whole 4-3 cover disguise scheme, I mean, we do need some more depth in the inside linebacker position. So if we feel really comfortable having him, and as you saw on the tape, I felt comfortable seeing him too because he was able to do one thing that was really good, stopping the run, because we were having really a lot of trouble stopping the run. Then yeah, this is great for him. I'm glad that he's going to make an impact for Seattle. I really hope that he can overcome his upcomings in terms of like his actual physical stature and features. Cause that's what really got him undrafted, is that he just was physically overlooked. But Drake Thomas is still a beast, and Blue Kelly. I like I said, I'm just hoping Carroll's gonna work with them, take them slow and easily. Maybe by week 4 or 5, maybe actually week 6, 4 or 5 is more assuring. 4 or 5, he probably will start playing in like the halves, maybe getting a few snaps in. And if he does progress well with our scheme, hey, we just picked up a free 5th round pick player for the dirt cheap, and he plays well. See, that's the thing that Seattle does really well, is that they pick up talent for next to nothing. And that's impressive. John Snyder and Pete Carroll, I always have to give them a round of applause every time, man. You can never if I'm gonna build a team, man, for the rest, no matter what sports organization, even if it's any sport, Pete Carroll and John Snyder, these guys are great. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for checking out my video. Thank you very much for hearing me out. If you guys like it, please like it. If you don't, I understand. Please follow, subscribe, like. I'm trying to get to 100 followers, or I'm really just trying to push it, dog. Like, especially this coming football season. I'm trying to be more like a premier sports person. But at the same time, I'm mainly Seahawks channel. I talk about my Seahawks and make sure that everyone knows what's up about my Seahawks. But more importantly, again, if I start seeing something that I like, I'm gonna start branching out and start talking about those topics if it's really something of interest. But again, if you guys like this format, me, doing transitions like this, me switching from this to laptop or whatever form, let me know. I'm just trying my best. I still don't know anything about video editing or any of that crap. I'm just knowing how to do cuts. So I'm working. I'm just trying, man. All right. So you guys have a good one. Thank you very much. And more importantly, go Hawks.